Everything is an experiment. Everything on One More Thing is an experiment. There's no handbook, there's no tutorial. I'm not following a guideline. I'm literally going with my nose on the energy. I'm going the gut feeling. Like everything is an experiment. I don't know where this is going to end up, but it has to end up somewhere cool, and it already has ended up loads of different cool places. But I don't know where we're going. It's all about the process, and the process is experimental. It's problem solving. It's working out, right, okay, what do I want to do, and how am I going to get there? And what do I want to do? What does One More Thing want to do? It wants to support like real music. Like I've been doing this for so long. I've been part of this for so long. I've been DJing since I was 19. I've been being a journalist since I was like 21. This is long time. 25 years of writing about it professionally, and more than that, playing it out. And I want to support the real stuff. I'm fed up of mainstream guff. I was never into mainstream guff. So how do I support that? I support that by trying to will the most experimental and exciting stuff into existence, or champion or identifying that and championing it on the website. And what we do on the label side of things, I just want to big up the label side of things. One More Thing now, for this third One More Thing daily. And that is the paid releases that we've started doing. So One More Thing was never actually going to be a label. It was always just going to be an editorial brand. But then at one point I was hearing so much great unreleased music, I wanted to start kind of supporting that. There was a free download album that we put out around Christmas of 2022 at the very end of the first year that we launched. And then I put out a compilation. It was the first paid release that came out, I think it was in April 2023, with loads of really interesting artists. A lot of them, it was their first release. With some of them, they'd only had one or two releases. It's still available now. That was a plan. That was when I started to kind of formalise an idea that One More Thing could also be a label, as well as like just a brand that does editorial and content. The whole idea of that was to monthly put out various artist compilations with a little documentary about each artist. I realised I'm not superhuman and there's not a million of me, and that just wasn't possible. It wasn't possible. And I don't feel like I did that release. Like I made loads of content around it. I shouted about it loudly, but it was all in the echo chamber. And I don't think I really did the quality of the music justice on that. So there's links to everything that we put out down below in the description. It was a great way of working out what One More Thing could be as a label. Then we've gone into free downloads. Again, link in the description. Loads and loads of great free downloads, which we still continue putting out. And now we've started putting out EPs. So in August, like July, August type of time, maybe it was a bit earlier actually, it might have been June. I should really have this information in front of me, but I'm not. I'm doing these all in one take. They have to be done in one take, or otherwise I'm going to spend too long on them and it's not going to be worth doing. And it's all going to seem a little bit contrived and bollocks. Anyway, Scorpion, do apologise. I can't remember the specific date of when your music came out. It might have even been in May, Scorpion had a release out. That was called Experimental Research. It's amazing. I'll bring in some music of that playing now in the background. Maybe it's already playing underneath me. Maybe I've already thought about this in the future when I'm editing this. And if that's the case, you go, future Dave. You're better than this current version of Dave who's just waffling unnecessarily. Lots of unclassifiable stuff. It was Scorpion's most experimental stuff. I told him I wanted stuff away from the dance floor, and that was paid release. We did some really interesting bits of content surrounding that. I haven't really kind of looked at statistics or sales or streams. I'm not too sure how well it's done in comparison to other releases the Scorpion's done, but it was an experimental release, and it's music that I will still play out to this day and will always play out. And it's fascinating music. It's unclassifiable, and that's the type of stuff I really want for the label. Next up now, Scartip. Now, Scartip has known me for 8 years, I believe. We met at a conference. I was working at a music conference called Beats Evolution Conference. I'd written a news article about it on UKF. And at the time, I was wondering, I was doing a lot of news articles and stuff. I was like, who even reads this? Who responds to any of this? Am I just shouting into the void? And then suddenly, like, I'm sitting in Prague outside this kind of artsy venue, chatting away to this guy. I think I asked him for a lighter to open a bottle or something like that. Turns out it's Scartip. I thought he was with a bigger group of people. He wasn't. He was there on his own, and he'd read my news story, and he'd come out to further his career and learn stuff. And I'd been playing his music on a little radio show that I was doing for a station called Kmar up in Leeds. Like, so I was like, oh my God. So we very, very quickly became friends. I brought him onto my crew of colleagues who was working out there. It's like, no, you're not out here on your own now, you're with me. And you know, we did, which I talked about, like being his manager and stuff like that. Like, 8 years later, though, I'm not his manager, although maybe if he blows up, then maybe I will be. It doesn't matter. Like, we've become way better than artist and manager relationship. We've become friends. And it's been awesome to see him develop and to have his music. And he always sends me this wildly unclassifiable music. A lot of, if you know about Scartip already, you might know about his drum and bass and stuff like that, but some of the stuff that he's sending me was just like, oh my word, like, this needs to be out. And when I started getting back into DJing again, like, hold tight Kirk, thank you very much for opening that gateway for me. One of the rules that I set myself was to play a Scartip dub in every single set, which is a rule that I've stuck to. I have another rule as well about changing the tempo. I have to change the tempo at one point in the set. Even if I'm playing a 10-minute set, I have to change the tempo at one point. It's a rule that I've set myself, and I have to live by that rule. I don't have to live by that rule. There's lots of other rules I break on the daily, but these are the parameters that I've set for myself as a selector. These are the experiments that I work within. And ever since I got back into DJing, I've been playing tunes by Scartip, and each and every one of those tunes is on the What Have You Done EP. It started off with a couple of tunes. Every now and again, he sent me something else like, this has got to go on the EP, this has got to go on the EP. It's got breaks on it. It's got really fast kind of drum and bassy, stompy kind of drum and bass tempo techno, basically, I would call it. It's got something around about like 114, 115 BPM, which is really slow and sludgy, which like Radio Slave has been playing and has remarked on a DJ campaign. So this is an experiment. Everything is an experiment. These videos here, like all of that music, total experiment. The way that we're promoting it, total experiment. This time last week, we did this like live interview thing on Twitch where we were having a few beers. It was a bit messy. Like, before the end of the whole kind of release promo ends, we're going to put up edits of that. If you were one of the very small amount of people who actually saw some of the interview, then you'll know that a lot of it is not repeatable. But again, it was experimental, and we will highlight some of the best bits of that. Everything that we're doing, the stuff that we're doing on Twitch, experimental. When I went out to Sun and Bass for the Sun and Bass One More Thing Sun and Bass Social, I'd never done streams before in that type of way. Yeah, I can do that. Don't worry, I'll do that. Massive experiment. The link to that is down there. I mean, you can see for yourself. You can see that it's quite experimental. Like, I'm literally curating the artist. I'm doing the stream on my own. I'm running the tech on my own. It's an experiment. Everything that you see is an experiment. And I hope the One More Thing is just always an experiment in that type of way. Let's try something new. There are people out there in the industry who are literally watching social media, they're watching their peers and they're copying. There are people who are using the same plugins, whether they're editing video or whether they're editing audio or making audio. There's the samey. There are people following steps. There are people following tutorials. And there's no problem with that. Like, helping people, guiding people is really, really important. But the minute you feel that you can deviate and do something different which puts your signature on it, do it. It doesn't matter if it's successful or not. Try it. See if you can find something new, or otherwise we don't go anywhere. We just go round and round and round in circles like the snake eating its tail, and it gets shorter and shorter and shorter, and the quality gets diminished every single time. Experiment like Scartip, experiment like Scorpion, experiment like One More Thing, and listen to all the experimenters who I'm going to be playing tonight on the demo drop. That's live. That's going to be 7 p.m. live here on YouTube and on Twitch, where for a couple of hours I'll be listening to the freshest of music, completely I've not listened to it before, to be capturing my reactions, my thoughts, and everybody else who's part of the community, all the other fellow experimenters who've kind of magnetized towards this project. Break the rules, do something fresh, do something different. Like and subscribe, please. I have to say that I've been told by somebody who's given me some advice, so I'm following some steps as well, that this is what we need to do in order to max up our volume a little bit, because we're doing something cool. We're experimenting. So yeah, this has been Dave Colombo Jenkins. This is the One More Thing Daily. What Have You Done EP is out now, and the demo drop is tonight at 7 p.m. UK time. Like, subscribe, peace and love, live, laugh, love. I need to just stop waffling, don't I? Peace.